So we're very privileged to be here in Liverpool with one of Liverpool's favourite sons, a former Red, Jason McAteer. Thanks for coming on board.
Thanks, boys. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so you're a local boy across the Mersey, was it? Or?
Yeah. Is this your first time?
First time I've come here with any sort of sporting interest. I've come here before as a tourist.
Oh, right, okay.
Did the whole Beatles thing, that's about
so
it.
you're right. So you know that, like a brief...
Everybody sings in Liverpool, that's what I found.
Kenty flew in 2 hours ago.
Yeah.
He came by train
yeah.
an hour ago.
What, from Australia?
Yeah.
Well,
No, we came. Where we to that? We're in
they came from
over in
France.
Paris that we come across. But
in Lille.
last time I was here, I was 14. My mum's a pom from Manchester, and I remember coming to Liverpool, and we got this thing that was called the Liverpool stick, a big lolly, and it had Liverpool right through the whole stick, and just lick. That's all I remember about Liverpool. But that was good to be here, mate.
That was a while back.
A long time ago, yeah.
I'll find one of them here now.
Long time ago.
Yeah.
Thank God you found the Spuds first and you got that instead of Liverpool stick.
I know, can you imagine that?
Yeah, but I'm not from Liverpool.
Okay.
So I'm from Birkenhead. So I'm actually called a woollyback. So they call people from Birkenhead a woollyback.
Right.
So where's Birkenhead? Across the river?
Well, if you got eye up, I mean, you probably see it from this building because we're quite high. If you just look across the Mersey,
yeah.
all them lights, that's Birkenhead. But Birkenhead's rough.
Was it?
Yeah. No, it is.
Growing up there?
Still there, yeah.
Tough?
So my background is my uncles in the 60s and 70s were boxers. But like good boxers, like middleweight champions. So British Empire champions.
Yeah, right.
So the McAteers were quite famous.
Kenty's a big boxing boy.
Yeah. So they were quite famous. So my upbringing was quite tough, really. So my background, like my dad and all that lot, they were tough. Like, so I yeah.
Fighting on the streets and stuff.
Just ducking and diving. But Birkenhead was rough. But it was a good time to grow up. I grew up through the 80s through Birkenhead, so everyone's door was open, and next door was your auntie, even though she wasn't, your auntie, and across the road we were always in and out of each other's houses, and it was a nice community. But I mean, no PlayStations, no phones, it was just outdoor living.
Good old days.
Yeah, and we were skint as a family. We were skint, so there was nothing lavish in our house. It was we begged, stole, and borrowed, and so for me, it was just being out on the streets playing footy and that. So it was a really good upbringing, and my dad was in and out of work because we went through Thatcher's England, which was up north. There was there was troubled times. Work was difficult, so money was difficult in our house. So so you just did what you can. But the shipbuilding, Camel Aids is still there, still going. Camel Aids. My dad was in and out of work there with that kind of stuff. My mum had like 4 or 5 jobs to keep us going and that, and that's how I was brought up. Yeah.
So that tore Liverpool apart, right? That whole Thatcher era, and
it was a difficult time. Yeah, it was a very, very difficult time, and I'm sure we'll get into it. But under her regime, we had Hillsborough as well, which was the biggest cover up ever, which was an absolute disgrace. So it did divide sort of Liverpool from the rest of Britain, really. I mean, there is a north-south divide here in England. But
why is that? Why when why when England play, do Liverpool fans traditionally not sing the anthem? Is that right, or is that not right?
I just think because of the establishment and the way things have been handled in the past, we see ourselves as our own little community, I think. And we think differently and we act differently than anyone else in the country. And, I think that's why we're against kind of the monarchy and the establishment.
How much does that go back to Hillsborough and what happened there and the whole cover-up and the lack of investigation, I suppose, about all that? Is that the whole... Was there any authority before then, or did that really... Certainly, I imagine, would have accelerated it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, the jury was out to begin with, and then obviously Hillsborough happened, and it compounded the fact of what we thought of the establishment and the government and who was running it and how things were run. Obviously we've gone straight into it there, but my experience at Hillsborough was I suppose I probably need to frame this. In football terms, when I was young, how it traditionally happened was you played for, growing up 10, 11, 12, you get into football. Then you'd end up, having trials of 14, 15. You play for the school, you play for your team round the corner. Then you'd have trials, and if you were good enough, you went and signed schoolboy forms. I didn't sign any schoolboy forms. I just played locally. I was a small kid, underdeveloped. So I didn't come through the system. So I literally got to 15 and my mum said to me, listen, what are you going to do? I said, well, I want to be a footballer. She's like, well, you kind of might have missed that boat, but the dream will still be there, but you're going to have to do something. So I went to college for 3 years and I worked in a pub just to earn a bit of keep to give to my mum and stuff and help out. And that was it. But I played locally and I carried on playing and the dream was always there. And I always, was a Liverpool fan and, I always had the ambition of being a footballer. And as you grow, life gets a bit more serious and all of a sudden the dream starts diminishing and you're thinking, shit, I need to get myself a job here. So I, going back to the Hillsborough scenario, I was working in a pub which was split between a lounge and a bar. And if you were posh, you went in the lounge and the fellas were in the bar drinking. And it was a Saturday afternoon and I wasn't playing footy and the telly was on the wall. And back then it was reports from the games were coming through and the lads were in and out the bookies, drinking the pints. How it is. Anyway, it was just all of a sudden, everyone just looked at the telly and this report had come through that, there'd been an incident at Hillsborough. And then it was, getting worse and worse, all these reports. Like, we're going back to Hillsborough now. Next report, there's reports of people dying, there's reports of deaths. And I've never seen a place empty out so quick. And literally the whole pub, Saturday afternoon, it's packed. The whole pub just emptied. And everyone just got in cars and went down to Sheffield. So they drove like an hour and a half down just to go and help out and just to see if anyone needed bringing back, to see what was going on, to see if people could help. This pub just cleared out. But I assume the whole of Merseyside would have done the same thing. Everyone just would have mucked in together and gone down there to kind of help. But it did go into panic and there was this like, what is going on here? This unbelievable, this just doesn't happen.
Can we go back to your career? The way you spoke about being a kid, I was the same in my field. I dreamt about playing first grade, which is our Premier League. Yeah. But I had no system of coming through with any sort of grounding. In no colleges. I went through. I don't know, I was just waiting for the opportunity. It's amazing what when you have that dream, it can come true. But you said where your upbringing was a lot of fighting. Have you ever gone out in the field and just bashed the shit out of someone? Can you do that or not?
Yeah, when I came through, because what happened was I was waiting in this pub, and I was underdeveloped, so I was lightweight, and I played on the wing and all that. So I never really got involved in all the the fighting and all that kind of stuff. But then as I started growing and started playing men's football and started. Basically, I don't know if it was, I actually got the shit kicked out of me, do you know what I mean? You got to start looking after yourself. And, back then, semi-professional football was playing against fellas, big tough fellas who hadn't made the grade, who had a bit of a, probably a chip on the shoulder a little bit and just wanted to go out and kick shit out of a young kid who thought, he was a little bit special, which was me. And you do throw the odd punch and all that, but I mean, it's different. Our game's different from yours.
I understand. It was tongue. I just thought it'd be a little bit.
Don't get me wrong. I have two-footed people and stuff like that, and that does go on. But I mean, going through the early 90s when I signed. So I signed pro when I was 20.
Right, that happened.
Yeah.
So I was waiting in the pub. Fella comes in. He goes, "You're doing all right, aren't you? Like playing football?" I went, "Yeah." He said, "I'm a centre forward for a semi-professional team." He says, "Do you want to come over?" It's the other side of Liverpool, a place called Crosby, a team called Marine. And he said, "Do you want to come have a trial?" So I said, "Yeah, I'll come over." Tuesday, Thursdays, they trained, played on a Saturday. So I went over and done okay. They had a reserves, they had a first team. First team was men, like the reserves was more kids who were being released from football clubs and me trying to, so we were mostly kids. So I ended up in the reserves. I used to get 2 trains there and a bus and, through all weathers. But when you're trying to get somewhere, you do it, don't you? You don't think about it, you just do it. So I got there and trained Tuesday, Thursdays. Every now and again, I get a lift back from the fella who lived by me. And then this league that I played in for Marine, it was against so football clubs had an A team, then they had a reserves, and then they had the first team. So the A team was all their kids that came through. Okay. But if the first team players were injured, they play a couple of games in the A team because it was easy, because it was against kids and all that, and they could manage themselves. So I'd play against Liverpool A team, Everton, Bolton, Blackburn, Man United, Man City. I'd play against all these A teams. So it was I'd play against. I didn't know back then, but I was playing against Ryan Giggs and Paul Scholes and Steve McManaman and Robbie Fowler. I was playing against all these kids.
Yeah,
they were just kids coming through. No one knew who they were.
Yeah,
and my team Marine was just playing against all these lads, and I was kind of up to their standard. And then one day, well, I'll tell you what happened. I got to the point where my college finished. I'd done graphic design. I was terrible. It was just like, college was great. It was just chasing girls, wasn't it? You find yourself a little bit, don't you? So I enjoyed it. But I was disciplined.
Sounds it too.
Yeah, I stepped off I didn't go on the ale. I didn't drink.
Really?
Yeah, my mum. To be honest, I had a tough time with my dad. My dad was a big drinker. So, going back to him, I'd see him, he'd do a couple of jobs in the week, and then he'd get to the weekend, and all the money he earned, he'd go on a piss on a Saturday.
Yeah. Wow.
Be in and out the bookies and that. Yeah. And that was our dinner money. That was the food money. And, my mum was like, so it put me off, like, drinking. I thought, like,
was it violent?
Was it violent?
At home?
Yeah.
That's just normal back then.
That was just, they follow their own upbringing, don't they? So, I got a whack too, yeah. So that's, that was our upbringing. Lost my train of thought there. What was it?
We were talking about how you went to your first club.
Yeah, you've done me there. You went to see violence. Yes.
Well, I just
drinking. Yes,
just because in those days that was part of life, right?
Yeah. So I didn't drink. So I was always fit and everything, and I've lost it again. Where I was going.
Sorry, mate.
Where you're training, like you're talking about training and coming through and the work you were doing.
Oh, yeah. So I come to the end of me college, and I thought, what am I going to do? And there's a thing here called the dole. Like you sign on the dole. You have the dole.
We have that, yeah.
Mate, it's when you go in at 18, 19, it's the most degrading thing like ever, innit? It's like, where am I? It's like, what is this life? Like, you're in a queue, you get like 28 quid or whatever. And I was thinking, God, I've got to do something more than this. So I got offered the opportunity to go to America. And I was on a 3-month visa, and I got the chance to go for a soccer scholarship.
Wow.
And I got it. It was in North Carolina. I ended up getting one in North Carolina.
So how old were you then?
I was 19.
Right.
Okay.
So the fella said to me, I went in the November. I done December and I done January, and I got offered the scholarship in the January. And he said to me, "Go back." So it was called an SAT. You got to do the SAT the exam and all that. He went, "Get your stuff," and he went, "Get ready to come back in March, and we start." And I went, "Brilliant." And I come home, and he said to me, "Make sure you stay fit. Go back and play for Marine for a couple of games. Just keep playing. When you come back, you're straight in." I went, "Okay." So I rang with the manager of Marine. I said, "Listen, I'm coming back." He went, "Brilliant." So I got back, went and played a couple of games, and then we played Bolton. And you'd have one of them games, don't you, where it just clicks. Scored a couple, set a couple up. I was on fire. And the manager come over to me at the end of the game. He went, "You're doing really well there." He said, the manager of Bolton, who was Phil Neal, who was one of Liverpool's most decorated players, he was the manager of Bolton. He'd come to watch the kids, so us, play before Bolton's first team in the afternoon.
Wow.
So he said to the manager, he went, "Who's this kid?" And he went, "Oh, it's Jason McAteer. He's going to go back to America in March." Anyway, he rang my house on the Sunday night. My mum picked the phone up, and he said, "Listen, can Jason come for a trial? We'll give him a week's trial." So she said, "Yeah, like, we'd love to get him down there." So he said, "Listen, Sammy Lee, another ex-Liverpool player, he's in Liverpool. I'll sort of lift out from Liverpool. But all he's got to do is get to Liverpool, and Sammy will bring him to Bolton."
Wow.
I went, "Brilliant." So now I'm meeting my heroes. Like Sammy Lee's one of my heroes. I met him at the Adelphi.
Yeah.
I jumped in the car. We drove
That's
all the
where
way.
you're staying.
That's right.
Outside that hotel.
Yeah.
Right, Sammy picked me up. And he drove me to Bolton. After 3 days, they offered me a trial.
Wow.
For the next 6 months. So, sorry, they offered me a contract for the next 6 months.
Amazing.
And I signed, and I rang the fella back in America, and I went, "Listen, I've signed for Bolton." And to be fair to me, he was like, "Brilliant, made up for you, good luck."
Wow.
And that was the start of my career.
So was that 500 quid and a bag of balls?
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yeah. So what happened? So I'm a Marine Reserves. That's who I played for this game against Bolton. Never played in the first team. Was never under contract. And on the Sunday night when he rang me mum, Phil Neal, he said, listen, make sure Jason doesn't sign a contract. You know, when he goes back to Marine like Tuesday and Thursday, make sure he doesn't sign that contract because we need to sort all the paperwork out. So he can go back and train with them. But in a week's time, 2 weeks' time, he's going to come with us. But they're going to offer him a contract. If he signs a contract, Bolton we're going to have to pay for him. So I went into training and the manager called me into his office knowing what was going on. And he went, I'll sign that £100 a week. And I said, can I take it home and let me mum and dad have a look at it just to bide some time? And he went, make sure that's signed on Thursday. So I went, all right, yeah. And he went, took it on the Tuesday. And on the Thursday, I went back and I said, I can't sign that. So they said, okay. So I stood strong. So then on the following Monday, I went for my trial at Bolton. And then, so I signed for Bolton. And as a goodwill gesture, Bolton paid Marine 500 quid and give them a bag of footballs. Said, thanks very much. That was my first signing on fee.
Yeah, right. So you've gone from working in a pub,
Yeah.
you know, playing for the local football team, and you go and play in the Premier League. Was it Premier League at that stage, or that was pre-Premier League?
Mate, I went from, so in 1990, I signed pro for Bolton. In 1994, I ran out in the Giant Stadium in front of 100,000 against Italy in the World Cup.
Wow.
In 4 years.
4 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
I just went So, and that was mad because obviously I was born in England, and this goes back to like the country divide. I never ever really felt English. I never really had this desire to play for England. And I'm not going to sit here and lie and say I had this mad desire to play for Ireland. But when I got into football and become pro and started, you know, going through the ranks pretty quick, you know, that question then got thrust upon you. You know, if you could play for your country, would you play? And I thought, who would I play for? And I never felt England. I never felt this desire, you know, to sing the national anthem or. And then Ireland, you know, I was told I had Irish heritage, and you know, my dad's side of the family was Irish, and I'd watched them in 1990 in the pub.
Italia
90.
Yeah.
They'd met the Pope, and they were in these white shell suits, all on the piss. And I thought, John, like loads of Liverpool players were playing. I thought,
Aldridge, I think,
yeah, John Aldridge, there was Ronnie Whelan, Ray Houghton, and I thought they look like they'd be brilliant to play for them, Ireland. So that's when I wanted to play for Ireland. So I got in the Bolton first team. We went on really good cup runs. We ended
Actually,
up
Jason, just before you talk about that, it's interesting you talk about that whole, you know, choosing Ireland, because part of the issue in Australia that we have at the moment is that is players choosing who they're going to play for. Players who grow up in Australia choosing to play for Samoa, Tonga, Australia. It's quite interesting that, you know, that
Do you call it the granny rule?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
pretty much.
Pretty much. Well, it works that way anyway. Yeah. If you've got relatives, you're qualified to play there.
And it's quite contentious in Australia. Because
It's
people are
becoming
saying,
contentious now. Yeah.
You grow up in Australia, you should represent Australia, and then other people say, well, it's okay to play for your nation of your heritage because that grows the game. You know, so it's, you know, it's.
We've got one this weekend with Brimson. Like, I didn't realise he had background.
AJ Brimson, who's a fullback, he's playing for England this weekend in the Rugby League. Is an Australian who plays.
His mum's
Australia.
English.
Would he have played for Australia though?
Probably not good enough.
He played Origin. He got to Origin.
I actually came over here in '98 to play for the London Broncos. Richard Branson was the owner. He had no idea what rugby league was. Yeah. And I got asked if I wanted to play for England, but there's no one that I would have, being in Australia. I played for Australia. I just could not have done that. So it's a little bit different at home now. You know, players that, you know, you dream about playing first grade, and then you dream about representing your country. And these guys have, you know, pick an A and B. Like, man, it was always Australia, and that's all it was.
Yeah. But our upbringing here, certainly in Liverpool, is different. And it goes back to that, like, you know, the government, the establishment, all that kind of stuff. You don't really, like, it's not very patriotic, you know, where we are here.
So you know, how many games you end up playing for Liverpool?
I played about 100. It says 138 on Wikipedia, but it was just a few more than that, just under 150.
Did you ever go against Mark Bosnich? You remember Mark Bosnich?
Yeah, Bozzy.
He
was a fella.
Right.
Bozzy. He's a lunatic, isn't he?
A lunatic.
Still is.
I love him.
Let's talk a little bit. Let's talk a little bit about Bolton and then into Liverpool, because I think it's interesting, your transition there, going to your boyhood club. You know. How did that come about? Because you were playing well for Bolton, you made the League Cup final or something. Is that correct?
Yeah, we had 2 promotions. The manager, Bruce Rioch. So I signed for Phil Neal in the January, and by May they'd sacked Phil Neal. So new manager come in, but my contract was coming up, you know, it was finishing. I only got a 6-month contract. So I was a little bit, but I'd done really well. So Bruce Ray come in straight away, give me a new contract, give me like a 2-year contract. I remember him saying to me, you do well for me and I'll look after you. So I was on £100 a week when I signed. Then they put me on £200. Then it started doubling. And then, you know, we got a promotion in my first proper season. We went up, beat Preston. Then we were in the Championship. Then we had a couple of seasons there. Then we had some really good cup runs. And in the cup runs, you know, your exposure is massive, especially when you get a Premier League team. So we're in the Championship playing the Premier League. You know, we played Liverpool, we played Arsenal, scored home, scored the winner in the replay at Highbury. You know, they were a Premier League team, so we knocked them out. We done Villa at home. You know, that was on the telly. So when you're on the telly and you play well, you know, your stock goes up. And it was me and another player called Alan Stubbs, who was a Scouser, and a lad called Alan Thompson, who was a Geordie. We were the young kids of the team, and we had a lot of Scottish players, John McGinley, Andy Walker was in the team, Owen Coyle. So we had this really good blend of youth and experience, and it was a proper place to learn. Bruce Ray was a tough player, like really tough, Scottish international, played for Everton, hard case, like Dad was a sergeant major, like you wouldn't mess around with him, but he become like a bit of a father figure to me, kept me behind, done extra sessions with him, proper worked, and then yeah, we got to the League Cup final, got beat by Liverpool. But that was a bit of a trial game for me because everyone was watching me at the time.
So you had an indication that they were
having a look.
Yeah, right.
There was them, United, Arsenal, Tottenham. Yeah, they were having a look at me and Alan Stubbs.
How'd you play that game? You lost that game.
I got man of the match.
Man of the match.
I was man of the match for Bolton. Yeah, loved it.
Not a bad audition.
Yeah, it was brilliant. But to walk out at Old, did you play at Old Wembley? Did you ever come over and play?
Yes, I did. Yeah,
unbelievable, isn't it?
I know it is. That's, I said last week. We used to come out where the goalposts were. We used to walk out.
Yeah,
walk out, and
that's it.
It was incredible.
How good's that?
It was brilliant.
Yeah,
it was incredible. Like, you know, I didn't want to look at you, or you want to look at me. It was intense, but
the walk's amazing.
It's brilliant. But now they've changed that, haven't they?
Gone now.
Yeah,
such a shame. It was like it was part of the heritage. It was part
Why
of
would
the
they have
history.
got rid of that?
What was the what?
Why would they have got rid of it?
Oh, because they made it into this like
Super
this
stadium.
corporate super stadium.
Some bloke that doesn't know anything.
Yeah, they
That's
don't
gone
know
and
what it's all
designed it.
about.
And, yeah,
it was a beautiful stadium. I think it was 88,000 when we played there, but I think on the weekend it might have been 50 or 60 because we kept the English to not any points. There was no atmosphere really.
The atmosphere was terrible.
They missed it so badly.
You know, like for us, when we grow up as kids, like FA Cup final days are really special.
We used to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. So for us to play at Wembley is like one of your dreams.
Correct.
And then like you look at the walkout that they do and you think, oh, I want to do that.
Yes.
And then the lineup, you meet, you know, it's just I want to do that. Is there anything in?
And you walk up into the grandstand at the end of it and get your
And
trophy.
and then you walk up and then round and down.
and down again.
The whole thing's part of the day.
gone,
So
yeah.
when they changed it, you're changing all that.
Got rid of all of it.
Yeah, and that's like what you want as a player. Is there anything in your game that you do is you think I want to do
No, we
that?
don't do that either. There's no, we do the presentation on the field, but
they tried that a few years ago at the NRL, it just didn't work. The NRL grand final just didn't work.
No.
last time I played was 95. We won the World Cup, and we actually had to look up there and hold the trophy and, you know, pass on to your mate. It was just so cool, you know. Because then looking back there, I remember back when I was a young bloke watching Man United play. You know, 3 o'clock in the morning, we had to get up and watch this game, you know, the FA Cup. So,
well, you would have watched that one. So that FA Cup that we played in against Man United at Liverpool was the white suits.
Yeah, let's talk about that. I want to ask about the whole Spice Boys.
Yeah.
But I want before we get to that,
yeah.
let's just quickly talk about going to Liverpool. That's your childhood club.
Yeah.
You know, obviously that's your dream, playing for your childhood club. You know, obviously your family, everybody's, you know, following you around.
Yeah.
You've grown up, you've watched the Hillsborough, you probably did you have mates pass in Hillsborough?
The team I played for on a Sunday, so my Sunday league team, the Trainer brothers, two brothers died at Hillsborough, but they were part of our team, yeah. And sad, and you know, I think as a community, Liverpool, as big as it is, it's quite small when something like that happens. In the sense of there's always someone who knew someone who knew someone who you know, and you know my mate my mates had to go down and pick the car up that there was 4 of them that went down. He went and picked the car up because, of course, everything's left. So we went and picked the car up, and Dignity by Deacon Blue was the last song we listened to, and he put the car on, and that was the song that came out on the cassette player. That was. So every time I hear that song now, it reminds me of the two brothers.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So what was it feeling like in the city after that? I mean, obviously it was mourning for years, right?
Yeah.
And you felt that playing
strange.
still? Did you feel that playing for Liverpool?
It's become part of the culture of the club. Yeah, it's it's there. The shirts. The memory will always be there, and it's stopped now. But we used to have a service every year at Anfield. I think they've just recently stopped that, but they've been campaigning for so long that we've always been a part of it, looking for justice and stuff, which is still yet to come. But it's on its way. But yeah, it affected a lot of people. And I'm very close to a lot of the older players. Like, we get together all the time. Like, John Aldridge is one of my best mates. John was heavily involved in it. Part of the team that day. He was there, and they all went to a lot of funerals. And I've seen John in tears over it. They still affected them now. They're still not over it.
I know Craig Johnson a little bit. And he was obviously there then, and Goosebumps talking about this. I once talked to him about it, and he can't deal with crowds anymore. Yeah, he cannot be in crowds because he just has flashbacks. So if I caught a plane once with him, and he couldn't wait around in the lobby for everybody. He had to go, and that was quite poignant. Him talking about that. So
it's affected them, a lot of them lads, in lots of different ways. It's brought them together as well. There's a real closeness with them all. We're all together again on Monday. I've just managed to wangle myself into that group, and I go, but it's the best afternoon ever. We go to a little Italian.
Wow.
We just talk about life, and it's the best.
Really?
Oh, it's the best thing, yeah. I'm privileged to be invited. So there's about 10 of us that go.
Wow.
That's the beauty of those of sport, isn't it? All those years later, you get together and you're just mates talking stuff, and
I know, and the stuff they
there's
talk
a bond
about,
there that
no one knows.
You don't have to work on you. It's just there, isn't it?
And there's that respect for each other, and the camaraderie and the banter. I mean, how we grew up, banter was like, it was heavy, wasn't it? It's still like that now when you're with them. Yeah, awesome. You need thick skin when you're with them. That's awesome. That's part and parcel of it.
Yeah.
But going back to Liverpool, so I played in the League Cup final. That was in the end of March, and then May we were in the playoff final then for Bolton. So we got promoted. We won that game and got promoted to the Premier League. So it was bittersweet for me because I'd been through so much at Bolton. We'd achieved this dream of 2 promotions, getting to the top. The manager's gone and left. Bruce Ray's gone to Arsenal.
Wow.
And me and Stubbsy are like, this is our time now. We've kind of served our time and we need to go now. And the new manager came in and said to us, you're not going anywhere. And we were like, we've got all these clubs after us. We want to move on. No disrespect for Bolton, and we thank you for, but give us the opportunity. We're talking about big clubs wanting us here. Not that Bolton wasn't a big club, but Liverpool, of course, knocking. So anyway, we were under contract, so we couldn't do anything. So then the clause was broken. The transfer fee was agreed by. The irony was Kenny Dalglish was manager. No, he's my hero, Kenny. He was manager of Blackburn Rovers at the time, who'd won the league, the Premier League, and he triggered the £9 million transfer fee for me and Stubbsy.
9
million, yeah.
Yeah.
So that was 8 million for me and $1 million for him.
Wow.
So we were driving into training, and do you have transfers in your game?
Nah.
Like,
No.
It's not done like the same way.
No.
So we were driving into training, and our agent rings us because we had the same agent, me and Stubbsy, and he said, listen, they've agreed the fee. You can go and talk to Kenny in a hotel just outside Liverpool. So we spun the car around, drove straight back up, and as excited as I was to meet Kenny, and it was Blackburn, and we were moving to the Premier League champions possibly, I was still holding out for Liverpool. So then I got a phone call from someone at Liverpool saying, what's going on? And I said, listen, £9 million been agreed for me and Alan.
Did you have to go together? That 9 million. So whatever club you went to, you had to go together. Is that how that worked?
Kenny wanted us both and just bid £9 million. So Bolton went, yeah.
Okay, so when say you spoke to Liverpool, did they want Alan?
Right, so I'll tell you what happens, right?
Yeah, right.
So the £9 million has been agreed. I've told Liverpool what's going on, and we get to the hotel, and I go in a room, and Kenny's there with Ray Harford, his assistant, and I go in with my agent. Stubbsy sits outside, so I'm the first one in.
Mm.
So we're having talk, and Kenny's trying to you're going to play here, and Stubbsy's going to play at the back, and he's going to, and I'm looking at signing him, and this is what we're going to do. And my agent's phone went off, and he's picked his phone up, and he's looked, and he's gone, can I just take the call? So Kenny's gone, yeah, okay. So he's gone out the room, and I'm left here, awkward. It's and then he come in, he said, Kenny, listen, Liverpool have agreed £4.5 million for Jason. They don't want Alan, so they want to be able. So they want to be able to talk to Jason. Can we go and talk to Liverpool? And Kenny went, deal's off.
Straight away.
So my agent's gone, do you mean the deal's off? He went, it's either both or nothing.
Okay.
So I'm like, what do we do with Stubbsy? Because I want to go and talk to Liverpool.
Of course.
So I go outside. I said to Stubbsy, listen, Liverpool have agreed £4.5 million for me. Unfortunately, they don't want you. Kenny's called the deal off. What do you think? And to be fair to Alan, he went to me, you've got to go and talk to Liverpool.
Wow.
Right.
So I've gone, okay. So the deal was off.
Wow.
We went back in, told Kenny, and Kenny went, deal's off. It wasn't like called his bluff, and he went.
Yeah. So just explain that to for us who don't know how the transfers work.
Yeah.
So Liverpool paid $4.5 million to Bolton as a transfer deal.
Yeah.
To have you.
Yeah.
But that's not your salary.
No.
So then your salary's got to come. So that's just a deal between.
That's just the transfer fee. Yeah.
So when Stubbsy says to you, well, you got to talk to Liverpool, he's obviously hoping at somewhere some other club's going to come in and pay a transfer for him, and he'll get his deal. But that money, your contract, you negotiate them with Liverpool. That's just
separate.
Totally separate. And as far as a club's budget and all that goes, that's just the more they pay for a transfer fee. Does that mean less they're going to give you personally?
No.
No.
I mean, it's up to you then to agree personal terms.
Yeah.
I mean, you might not agree personal terms. Like Liverpool might have turned around to me. Listen, I was always going to go, and I would have played for nothing. To be honest, I didn't say that at the time. But they might have said, "Listen, we'll give you £100 a week," and I went, my agent would have gone, "Wait, we ain't signing for that."
Yeah.
And he knows the going rate, so he'll go in, and it just so happened Liverpool was structured. So I went in to talk to Liverpool. So Stubbsy went back, Kenny left. I went to Anfield and spoke to Roy Evans, and Peter Robinson was in there, the chief exec. And I go in with my agent, always going to sign. And they're trying to now make me sign over Blackburn. So they're saying, listen, you're going to play here, and this is happening, and we're going to do this. And I'm like, just looking at them thinking, I'm always signing. I'm always
you
signing.
got me a hello. Yeah.
And then they said, listen, we need to talk about wages. So I said, listen, that's nothing to do with me. I looked at my agent. I just went to him, don't mess it up. And I went, can I go and have a look at all the pictures and the trophies and they went, yeah. So I went out the room, and then I got called back in literally 10 minutes later, and they went, right, it's all done. I went back in and signed, not knowing how much I was getting.
Wow.
It turned out it was structured. So all the players who were, because there was a lot of young kids there my age, like we were 24. So Macca, Robbie, Jamie Redknapp, and then JMO, Phil Babb. There was me, Rob Jones. We were all on. It was about $15,000 a week. That was standard contract.
So part of Liverpool's problem, if I'm right, up until recently was that structure. Is that correct? That they had structure for certain players and they couldn't go over and they wouldn't go over because then that would kickstart everybody else.
Yeah, I mean, as the game's changed, some people, they look at themselves as superstars, don't they? So they want a parity. So, a player might go into a football club as a superstar and go, right, who's your highest paid player? And it might be their superstar who's already there. And they go, I want the same as him. And then, someone else might sign and they go, I want the same as him. So all of a sudden your wages are just going bang, 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 bang.
That's what's happening.
Out of control, right?
It goes out of control.
Our game's the same at the moment. But as a old ex-player, some of the money that you guys are on, you must go, what is going on? I wish I was playing in this era. It's incredible.
You know, I get asked that question a lot, you know, and I don't, because the game has changed that much now where, you know, the footballers, they can't go out. They don't have these lives. I'm sitting here now with you fellas, like telling stories, talking to you and enjoying, you know, I love being, you know, in this kind of company with lads of our age who've got stories. Do you know what I mean? Like we've got something these players now would never have.
Yeah.
You know, and as much as the value of money, like I'd rather have this is more value to me. Listen, I've done well out the game, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I look at players who played in the 70s and the 80s who won European Cups, who haven't got a pot to piss in. You know, I invested, I did okay, I looked after my money, and you know, my life is very nice now and comfortable, and it's great. But my value is not being on 250 grand a week. My value is meeting the lads on Monday.
Yeah, nice.
Can I just ask, like, when you retired, is that period after you've been with the team, how were you mentally after finish that? You talk about your mates who you're going to see on Monday, like the few of them were struggling, as you said. You know, they sort of drink up all their monies. I know me personally, it was tough. Thank God my upbringing was my dad always made me work, so I got into work straight away. How did it affect you?
It was tough, like crazy. I mean, you know, we've grown up in the same environment as in the sense of, you know, mental health back in the 90s. I mean, what was mental health?
Didn't know, did we?
You know, there was none, and you didn't play well. You'd have to figure it out yourself. You know, and all the noise that was coming, you know, because everybody's had an opinion through this avenue. You had to deal with that yourself. And the clubs didn't cater for it. They didn't know, and it was tough. It was tough. So mental health was never on the agenda. It was never in the conversation. So, you know, I think we've all got our own coping mechanisms, and we all deal with things our own different way. And I think I think football, certainly for us in sport, you can, you know, being on the pitch was great. That was my place. I loved being. You know, there wasn't a care in the world. I loved being on the grass with my mates. You know, battle. It was a battle, wasn't it? You know, I know you lads are a different breed, and you're great. I love you to bits. You crackers, but you know, but for us, it was still the same winning. You know, it's still winning, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I love that winning, and then that becomes a bit of a drug, doesn't it? Winning.
Yeah, it does.
And it becomes like part of your DNA. So when you finish football, you know, and you don't have to win anymore, you know, you have to channel that somewhere. But also, I think, you know, my idea of mental health is when you have a problem, it goes in a box. And I think if you put the lid on the box, one day that lid's going to open. You've got to deal with it. And it might be in there for years, but that lid will open one day. And I think when I come to the end of my career, all these boxes, all the lids just went boom, 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 boom. And all these problems came out. And I didn't have the support network. I didn't have my teammates. I wasn't training. You know, I wasn't winning. I wasn't channeling all this frustration, all these problems. I wasn't channeling them. And I got to the point where my private life was a bit of a shit show. My career was ending. I didn't know where I was going. I was still relatively young, 36. And I just thought, what's going on? And then you just spiral out of control. And then everything just starts getting worse and worse.
Were you married then?
I wasn't married, but I'd just split up with a long-term partner, and we'd had a child. So I was trying to keep a relationship there. I was, you know, trying to think what I was going to do with my life, what I was going to do. And there's a tunnel goes between Liverpool and Birkenhead under the Mersey, 3-mile tunnel. And I remember driving my car, and I was fighting myself. It's 2 lanes this way and 2 lanes that way, and it goes dark and there's lights. And I went into the tunnel, and I just thought I could just swing this car here and just smash it into that wall, and it's all over. And I got to that point where I was literally fighting myself. And there's a part of the tunnel where, as you come to the end of it, it's like the daylight comes. It's like you start it in the daylight. And it was like this. I was driving into this light, and I was fighting, like in my head. I was fighting it, and it was like, you know, what'll happen here? And all these questions were coming into my head. You might kill a mother of 3. You might kill some kids. It's like, yeah, but just do it. You know, it's just all the way through. It was just this fight. And then this light, as I was coming out the tunnel, it was like, next thing I was out the tunnel. And then I was going to pick my little boy up. And then I went through the same routine with him, took him the pictures, took him for his tea, dropped him back off at his mother's. And I drove back home, and I don't remember the drive home. All I remember is getting to my mum's. And I knocked on the door, and she opened the door, and I just burst out crying. And I went, I'm done. Like, I can't do it anymore. And my mum was in a job where she gets, she has a counsellor because of the job that she did. And she put me in the car and said, right, you're coming with me. And I got in the car, and she drove me to her counsellor's house and literally left me on the doorstep. And
at 36.
Yeah.
Wow.
And her name was Jane. And she opened the front door, and my mum went, you need to look after him. Like, he's at his, that's it, he's at rock bottom.
Yeah.
She went to me, come in. And then I went into her lounge. She had like it must have been where she has her clients. And I went in, and she went, right, what's the problem? And I just went,
yeah.
And I went that night, I went the next day, and then I was seeing her twice a week, probably for a month. And then it went to once a week, and then it went to once every 2 weeks. And I was probably with her for 7 months. 7 months just working stuff out, yeah. And, you know, it was basically, you know, in the beginning, it was stay busy.
Yeah, got it,
you know,
mate. Got to keep your head busy.
Yeah, just keep yourself busy. Keep yourself with your mates.
Yeah.
If anyone asks you to go and play golf, go and play golf. I started playing golf. Like, I love golf. Golf saved my life. It was the best thing ever. And then I got in with a group of lads who played golf, and I'd look forward to going out with them, and it was killing 4 hours. And
it's also the competition of golf as well, right?
Yeah, and then I was getting that, getting better at it, and you know, and the competition and all that. So that become a big thing. But I was in a bad way, yeah.
Yeah, well, I've actually about 4 years ago, back in our game, we've got this thing that's called CTE now. Brain, you know, damage in some ways, isn't it, Kenny? And I got told from a professor that, you know, I've got symptoms of CTE. I know you don't really find out until you're dead. They open up your brain. Right, okay. But I've had issues when I was pretty down, and I had this one tree I was lining up every time. I still go past this bloody tree every day, and thank God I've never taken that on. But, you know, you just got to keep your head busy. Like, you know.
Doesn't end well with trees, mate.
No, but you just got to keep your head busy.
Just so you know, Kenty.
He's always been a bit of a smart ass, Kenny.
No. He got in a bit of trouble with the tree.
Right, the old tree gag. No,
there's only one winner, and that's the tree.
Yeah, the tree.
Right.
Yeah. But you know, as you said, you just got to keep your head busy. Yeah. And surround yourself with some really good people. Otherwise, the other dead shits, don't worry about them.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you haven't got that time. And I think it's just, you know, good for people to, you know, if you got a problem, go and see your mate and have a chat.
Yeah.
Go to your mum. Doesn't matter how old you are.
Yeah.
And, you know, get it out there. Because otherwise, as you said, mate, the box, it just keeps getting filled, and then it can just go.
Yeah.
You saw the council for 7 months, though. After the 7 months, like, did you get through that 7 months and think, you know what, I'm good, and from that moment on it was all good, or do you still have is there a relapse at different times?
Yeah, of course you do, yeah. You know, of course I have times when I get down, and, you know, life throws all kinds of problems at you, doesn't it? And I think spending 7 months with her, you find the coping mechanisms. You find the things that, you know, help you, which is, you know, your mates. You're ringing your mates up and going, listen, my head's up my arse here, like, you know, can we have a chat? And then, you know, my mates, when I ring them and go, listen, my head's up my arse, they'll drop things for me, and they go, right, come and meet me for a coffee. We'll go for a walk, have a coffee. What's going on? You know, you spill it out, and then they give you advice. You know, I've got probably 3 or 4 people I could go and really lean on, and they're the mates that you really need. So yeah, them 7 or 8 months, they're the coping mechanisms. But I'm busy. I'm like you, like, you know, when you said you were brought up and you're a grafter. In our house, you had to be a grafter. You know, you had to work. You know, it was just, that's the way we are. Even now, you know, I could be a billionaire. I'd still go out and graft. Like, I like working.
Yeah,
so do I.
It's part of my DNA.
Yeah,
it's part of me. Like, you know, you know, anything. I just like it. People go to me like now, like, people will ring me up and go, will you come and do this? And I go, yeah, just to go and do it. I like doing it. And they're like, what? And then my other mate will go, why are you doing that? It's like, because I'm busy. I like doing it. I've got the time. Like, why not?
Yeah,
well, that's why you've come on here, right? Because, we reached out to you.
And Robbie's like, listen, are you free? And I went, yeah. And he went, there's a couple of great lads have come over Australia. They want to do a podcast. I went, listen, I'll come up. And yeah, of course I will. Yeah. No problem.
Jason, I want to ask you about the whole Spice Boys thing, because I'll tell you why, because there's a team at home called the Brisbane Broncos who've just won the grand final. And part of the angle of them, the criticism of them over the years, or the last few years, has been this prima donna, TikTok era, perfectly manicured, etc., etc. And then I look at kind of Liverpool in the 96, 97, with the 96, was it the Spice Boys? And, they used to wear white suits to the FA Cup final. And tell us about that era, because it resonates with what's going on with our premiers.
So the 90s, and this goes back to when you were saying about the money they were paid. The 90s was the biggest change in football in this country. And that came around 93, 94, 92, 93, 94. That's when the broadcasting, Sky TV came in. So the money came into the game. Now, with the broadcasting becomes visibility, it all works, the exposure. So then the sponsorship all starts happening. So there's more money. So football clubs could develop in a different way, but it was also in a way where it kind of went against the trend. Like footballers were, big drinkers through the 80s. Footballers were tough, rock hard, did it, went to the pub and all that.
Working class too,
a
little bit, weren't they? Yeah.
So when the money came into it, football teams and organisations, they could exploit different angles, and it started becoming a business. So it was like, well, let's do this. But also, it was a time when agents started coming into the game because there was more money. And then financial advisors were coming again because there was lots of disposable cash. So everyone, all these new jobs were becoming, all these new angles were coming into the game. And footballers were becoming a commodity then in different areas. So we were now on we were not just on the back page of newspapers. We were on the front page of newspapers.
And fashion
magazines, and this was coming into it, and modelling things started coming into it. There was other avenues of money being exposed. So we'd exploit that, or the agents would exploit that. And we would be like, we're young and
good-looking guys.
Yeah, we're just moving with moving with the times. Yeah. But unless you were winning, the hardcore fan was like, they couldn't get their head around it. It's like, why are you modelling? It's like, well, we just got X amount of money doing it.
Correct.
Yeah, but you never won the game on Saturday. Oh, because I was modelling like on the Monday before the sack following Saturday game.
Exactly.
What you're saying resonates so much with Reece Walsh, who's the number one player in the world, right? He's the Australian fullback. He is, for want of a better term, the pretty boy, right? Who is a fantastic performer.
He's beautiful.
But he's a very good looking guy. But when he wasn't performing, everyone was saying, he's too busy doing TikToks. He's too, like you boys, right? Yeah. Too busy doing commercials and,
But we got it wrong at times.
Yeah.
We did get it wrong. In the sense.
So who allowed that to happen? Was that Roy Evans who allowed that? Like, how does that get out of control within a club? Because you were doing, you had Robbie Williams on the bus. Is that true?
Yeah, Robbie, yeah. So
there's a story there, but it says
one I can't tell. Yeah, I mean, we had a lot of crossovers as well because industries. It was the age of the boy bands was coming into. It was like you would take that and Westlife Boyzone. They were all around. The Spice Girls were coming in. All Saints were coming in. Now we were all at the same age. Now we were all going through the same thing. Some were being you could argue something were being exploited. Yeah, stardom and fame, and we didn't know how to handle it. Footballers, we weren't just footballers anymore. We were like, we were becoming superstars.
Yeah,
and people were like, there was a craving for it, and people wanted it. So our industry and their industry kind of overlapped because we'd meet them at the same events, and we'd have a lot in common. Be like, how do you handle that? Like they'd be getting screamed at, like the Spice. We'd see the Spice Girls out. We'd be getting the same attention as that. We'd be bumping into them. Then it'd be like one of the lads to take them out. Like,
did boys date the Spice Girls?
A few of us.
Yeah.
It was known. Yeah. We overlapped.
Yeah. Wow.
Robbie Williams says he dated 4 of the 5.
Does he? Yeah. Right. Yeah.
So, and then Robbie, and the mad thing is, it's like they're all footy fans.
Yeah, right.
But we were, in our day, we were accessible, weren't we? Because you'd find us at events, or you'd find us maybe in a bar in Liverpool after the game, or, we were just lads having a good time.
Back then, there was a lot. You'd go into the bars and you have your little sort of velvet rope off area, little VIP, and
but they know where you are. Yeah. So
I used to work at a paper. I was a correspondent over here in London years back, and on a Monday, I remember sitting there one day, and I was at the Times building at Wapping, I think it is, where the sun is and all the rest of it. And on the Monday morning, you'd see 3 or 4 girls walk along the street towards the Sun building, and these little short mini dresses and bright colours. And first time I saw it, I thought, oh, that's a bit unusual. And then the next week there was some more, and then after about 4 or 5 weeks of this, one of my mates saw me sitting there thinking, like, what's going on here? He said, they're the girls. Saturday night, they've hooked up.
Tell.
They've hooked up with a footballer.
Yeah.
And they've driven down the motorway.
Story.
They go straight to the Sun.
Wow.
To sell their story.
Yeah.
That was every Monday.
It was only paying.
You'd see, because they'd pay them. Yeah, and so you'd see 3 or 4 different, but they'd still be in their their nightclub outfits coming in on a Monday morning.
So that's how it starts in the area, and then it progressed to News of the World, which is where that would have got printed.
That same building. Yeah.
They then would put. So say there was a story come out. Like a kiss and tell. The thing at the bottom would, if you have a story,
is that right?
Contact this number.
Well, now the killer is social media is just out of control. Like the bloody mobile phones and it's a different world.
Boz has done a few things for us, and he got stung by News of the World. Mark Boz got stung by News of the World with his old girlfriend Sophie Anderton. They got stitched up. Yeah.
But what was mad is So in '94, when I went away with Ireland, and I don't know if it was like that with you guys, the press would come on our plane.
Of course they would.
And we'd know them. Yeah. We go out for a pint with them. And they need us. We'd need them.
Yeah.
And there was that relationship, and there was a line, and no one really crossed it. And then a new breed came into it, and it was, the world was changing, and there were stories there.
The old rule of football, the old rugby league rule was, between the media and the players on tours like this current tour now that the Australians are doing here in England, was unless there's police involvement, it doesn't make the paper.
Yeah.
So basically, whatever went on, and in that, that was in all manner of different ways. But basically, they were free to basically go and be themselves unless there was police involvement. At that point, then it was it was going to clearly be on the public record. So then it was to be spoken about. But that rule has long since gone.
Ours was the same.
Well, media's just all about gossip these days.
Of course,
it's gossip presented as news. Yeah. So it's all, that's all the clickbait bullshit you got to put up with. But sadly that's the way the world's turned. But
I went to America.
That's why you had much more fun now. Back then than you would now.
100%. I went to '94 World Cup in America with Ireland. It was like a stag.
Yeah.
I swear to God, it was like a stag. Yeah. We played Italy, Mexico, Norway. Got out the group, played Holland, and we had a great time. A great time doing it. Yeah. Not one story got out. Not that there really was any stories. But we went out for a drink.
Yeah.
We went to Disneyland and we done this, and the younger lads went off and done their thing, and there wasn't one story made the paper. And, there was like an unwritten rule between us and the press. And then around 96, 97, that all started changing.
Yeah.
The Spice Boys thing was 96. That came about because, so we get to the cup final, Manchester United. And Liverpool and United, at that time, we were big rivals. And they just edged ahead of us around the back end of 95. We should have won the league, but we didn't. And they won it. And so they kind of had the formula to keep going, where we were always kind of searching for it, but we were hanging on to the coattails.
Chopping and changing.
Yeah. And then we made the cup final. Of course, we get United in the cup final. So the tradition of the cup final, like we were talking about before, is you get a suit and you make a record. Yeah, so we're going to make the record. We had nice dark suits. And then David James was modelling for Armani. He was doing big campaigns for them.
Good looking bloke.
Yeah. Armani, all of a sudden, their media team realised the exposure from an FA Cup final. And the penny drops, and it was like, let's put them in Armani suits.
Wow.
So we were like, we'll have a free Armani suit. Brilliant. So they send their team of people, And then they come, and time's running out, by the way. It's like, this is 2 weeks before the cup final. So they turn up, and one of the lads in his wisdom went, you know, like that Italian brown, and like, you know, like that nice brown Italian look. We wanted to go with that. Armani was kind of all over it. This is what you should do. They showed us like the suits and all that. They looked great. We all got fitted up. And then, I swear to God, see your pants there? The suits turned up that colour instead of maybe that colour of that table.
Yeah.
And we all went, so we all threw them on.
Not that they're all your pants.
And they were like the worst fitting suits ever.
Yeah.
And then next thing it was like, well, we haven't got time to change them. So that's it. We've got to wear them. So we went with it.
That's your prep before a game. You don't want that preparation.
No.
But didn't you turn up in a bus sponsored by a nightclub?
No, that wasn't true.
Emporium? No.
No, we all ended up in Emporium after the cup final. We thought we'd won the FA Cup, but we hadn't. But I mean, Robbie tells this story, so I'm kind of pinching it a little bit. So the tradition at Wembley is you'd have a toss for the home team and the away team. So we lost the toss. Man United were the home team. So what happens is you get to go out on the pitch in your suit and address your fans. This is like hour before the game. So we're in the dressing room, just sitting around. They go out. You can hear like this massive cheer goes on. 20 minutes go by. Fella comes in. He goes, right, it's your turn. So we all walk out in our suits, and there's no one cheers, right? They thought we were the band. We come walking out. And they thought we were right with the band. And everyone's like,
that's awesome.
The team.
That's
like,
awesome.
And we're like, shit. Then we started doing all the interviews within these suits and that. And then
I remember it. Yeah.
As things have come out, apparently Alex Ferguson's team talk was, if you're going to let them dress like that beat you today, you know, ass kicking. And that was all the motivation they needed. Right. But it was a terrible game. We cancelled each other out, and then Cantona scored in the 84th, 85th minute. And they end up winning 1-0.
What was it like playing him? Cantona.
Eric was a maverick, so he used to have fun with Neil Ruddock. They used to kick shit out of each other, to be honest. But he could mix it like Eric. I always got on with him. He was a player.
Brilliant, but he also could, if you wanted to do that and kick shit out of him.
Oh, he'd give it back.
Yeah, give it back.
He was about 6'3", Eric, 6'2".
Is he really?
Big fella, yeah. Big fella. But nice fella. I always thought he was all right, Eric.
I love those guys with a touch of genius to them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They just do something, you just think, like, where's that come from?
Where's that? Robbie was like that.
Yeah.
Robbie Fowler was like that.
Yeah.
Joey Johns is a bit like that.
Yeah. Reece Walsh.
Yeah. They do things that you don't see in it. And you're like,
one step ahead. One step ahead of where you're thinking.
Yeah, Robbie was like that. He was the best I ever played with, Robbie.
Really?
Oh,
who are the other good players you ever played with?
Macca.
Yeah, right.
You know when you're in the dressing room and you've got a couple of players like that, and you think, we're going to win the game. Them two play well today, we're going to win.
It's amazing the correlation with it, rugby league, what I played and football, what you guys did. It's just all these stories you're saying. It's like, I'm just going tick. I still remember 94, like I finally made first grade, playing continuous first grade, and you were saying you're going on World Cups. It was, it was quite amazing.
Yeah. It's funny, the dressing room, I loved the dressing room. It was a tough place. But
who were the leaders? Were you a leader?
Barnesy was there.
Right.
I grew into one. So later on, as I got more experience, I moved football clubs as well. You know, and then, you know, I was probably more of a leader at Sunderland when I was up there. So I probably went there about 30, 31. I felt ready then. I was a leader and I'd had enough in the tank, you know, to tell people what to do. I felt I had enough power in the dressing room to call people out. So I really felt I went into that leadership role around 31. But at Liverpool, I wasn't. I mean, that dressing room. I've spoken to psychologists now, and I'm like, you know, they're all trying to find something now, aren't they? You know, psychologists to improve dressing rooms. I'm speaking to a professor at the minute about 15 minutes at half time. I mean, that's fascinating. What they're doing with the 15 minutes. They're letting players use phones now.
Yeah.
For 3 minutes.
No way.
Yeah. You
can 3 minutes.
3 minutes.
Sorry,
what are they doing with the phone?
A professor.
They're allowed to go on the phone for 3 minutes.
To a psychologist or something? Or
no, so the psychologist now, this team, I've come up with this 15-minute half time where it's split into sections. So the first 3 minutes, the players walk in and they can do what they want, as in they can go and change the shirt, they can go to the toilet, they can do whatever they need to change the boots and all that. 3 minutes. The next 3 minutes is they can do what they want, but they can use the phone if they want to go on their phone. So if they feel like
Instagram.
You can do what they want.
Really?
You can go on the
Wow.
So you don't have to go on it for 3 minutes. You can just check it.
Yeah.
What?
You can check it. You can text back. You can text, and it's funny because the masters I'm doing now, I wish I got their names, but apparently they're really famous lads in the rugby world. I'll get their names and I'll text you it, right? And I was in the lecture from the guy who's doing it. He's Real Madrid are using it, and there's 2 Premier League teams using it. He goes in and he does it, right? And these rugby lads, they were like old school, like us, and they're like in disbelief. And when the fella goes, "There's any questions?" They went for him, but he's got all the answers. He's got all the answers because it's like a comfort thing, and it's like a reset.
Really?
Because this is how the kids are growing up now. They're growing up with phones in their hand.
Yeah, and they get anxiety when they don't.
It's like
they get
anxiety.
Anxiety when they can't look at it. Yeah. But the problem is if they've had a shock of a game, right, and they get on there at half time and they have a look at it, it's just going to they open up Instagram. Suddenly, it's just going to reinforce all their bad thoughts. So you've got to probably handle it a little bit carefully.
Imagine going in there, have a look at 3 minutes. There's one there from your dad. You're playing like a dead shit. Get out there and think, okay, let's go again. But I'll tell you what, how do they do that?
Yeah, it's crazy. The next 3 minutes is the manager's allowed to talk with the analysis. But they're given like a time frame within the 3 minutes until your player loses switches off. So that might be 90 seconds. So he's got 90 seconds to get his message across. And then the last 6 minutes, they warm up again. The next 6 minutes is warm up and they go out ready.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
And then they do that little thing in the circle where they come in and out. And
Funny you say that. I was talking about the other day about one of the football clubs at home, and he was telling me about it. He was speaking to a player who this year said to him, he said, once the coach started to talk, he said you could see all the young kids in the team just switch off. He said they just don't have the concentration to sit and listen through the coach's address at half time or even before the game, because they're just the way they are growing up these days. Yeah, they just, for an older bloke to sit down and say, listen, this is what we're going to do today, soon their eyes just glazed over and just nothing was absorbed.
But if you look at the generation now, when they go on their phones, and you mentioned TikTok and Instagram, everything is like bump.
Yeah. They don't stay with that, do they?
No. And I watch my kids at home on the telly, right? And they're like that. Switch over. 2 seconds. Switch over.
They can't watch a football game, can they?
No. They can't. My kids struggle to watch a football match for 90 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, they're always like,
yeah.
You know, and I look at them sometimes. They're actually watching the telly while they're on the phone. It's like they just. It's got to be like. The mind's like.
Yeah. Well, they watch it now. These days, watch TV, and as they're doing that, they just heads go from back and forth.
But that's like in the dressing room. They can't absorb.
It's a funny one. I don't know. You know, to your point, where they're actually getting into the science of that and allowing them now to have their phones in the dressing room just to sort of arrest that anxiety and allow them to sit there and go, okay, you've checked your phone, now let's reset and let's get back into where we need to be. It's just fascinating that ability to concentrate or to focus and stay within a conversation is just not there anymore.
This professor, there's no stone unturned. These lads peppered him with questions, and he was like, "It's because of this. This is the reason why." In fact, I'm talking to him on Wednesday. He wants to talk to me about something, so I'm going to pick his brains again. But they'd go, "Well, why?" And he'd go, "Because there's an anxiety problem, and this is why we let them do it." And they go, "But why?" And he'd go, "Well, because of this." And he'd give it, and like it wasn't like he got to a point where he didn't have an answer, and he goes, "I don't know." Wow. He had all the answers, and in the end, you come out going, "I get that." It's like, wow. Yeah.
Well, rugby league, we get our moment of that with the Reece Walsh we've been talking to you about. Paints his fingernails. You know what I mean? He's got his own YouTube channel. So he's very different from anybody that's come before him.
Progressive, you know.
Yeah. Well, that's
the best. The best thing about him,
but there'll be more to come after.
Can't he?
He's
well, he can play. He
can play.
He can play, and if he'd be slaughtered if he couldn't.
Yeah.
But he's the first of what's going to be many at some point.
I think so.
That's like he's not a maverick that's it's going to die with him and you won't see that again. That'll be more and more and more over the years. But
would you have a player coming through now like this Reece Walsh? If you watch him play, he'll throw a pass, he'll get intercepted. He'll throw the same pass, he'll get intercepted. He throws the same pass, and then they score. They've got no fear. Like these young blokes coming through. Yeah. Have you got someone in football that you say, they're like it in that domain?
Or are they all like that now?
What's the question again? Where they don't care?
No, they don't know their divots.
I know when I made a mistake.
They make a mistake. They don't sit down and shit. I won't do that again because I made a mistake. He'll just keep playing it, and eventually he'll make it work.
No, we've got my take on football, and this is only my take. This is my personal take, right? The academy system. When we played, we grew up in an era where I think we were problem solvers. We solved problems on the pitch that we seen our problem. We didn't look at the coach and go, how do we sort that out? If it's not going right, I'd say to you, what are you doing? Come here. Like, tuck in there, nail him, make sure he don't get on the ball because he's dictating the play. He's setting the tempo. I want you to nail him. Crowd are turned. Like, we need to create a different kind of momentum, maybe take a booking, maybe smash him, get the crowd on our side, lift the crowd. Let's do that, right? Or let's sit deep. Let's just soak up the pressure. And we'd figure it out ourselves. We didn't look at the bench every 2 minutes or get an half time and go to the manager. What do we do here? So my take on football is we've created this academy culture now, and all these academy players from when the academy was born are now, we're seeing the fruits of that. All them players are now academy players that are coming through. So academies, for me, they get brought up in a certain environment in a certain way. And it's kind of like football is very much like a pattern kind of thing. Structure. Yeah. And they don't like going out the box. No. Now, there's lots of different reasons why they don't like going out the box. One, because they leave themselves exposed. Two, they're not doing as they're told. Now, you look at Jack Grealish, was the biggest maverick, probably the closest thing to this guy you're talking about, who was just played off the cuff, like Gaza. Remember Gaza? Like Gaza, easy on the eye. You could pay money to watch him. He goes to Man City under Pep Guardiola, plays left wing in a completely structured environment where he's not allowed to flourish and do what he wants. All right, he's won umpteen trophies and he's won the treble and he's done this and he's done that. And it's like everyone got bored of watching Jack. Everyone got bored of watching Man City. He's gone on loan to Everton. Everyone can't get enough of him. You love watching him again because he's happy again and he's doing. But he's one of a few. We don't get a lot of them because it's very structured.
It's interesting to talk about it, Jason, because in Rugby League a few years ago, I went to all these block plays out the back. Right? And everybody played these structured block plays out the back. And it was only recently where players came in who could take on and completely throw that out the window that it's actually become more enjoyable again. It's lost.
They changed the rules too, which also helped.
Liverpool have lost 6 of the last 7 games.
Yeah, can we talk about, Jason? I know, look, we got to finish because you've given up your family on Halloween to come on.
Mate, so I'd rather be here than trick or treat, I tell you.
So we don't want to keep you too much longer, but talk to us about, because in Australia there's many Liverpool fans, right? Craig Johnson, Harry Kewell, all.
I was with Harry the other week.
Well, yeah.
He's gone back in, hasn't he? He's got a job.
Has he?
Yeah, he's got a job in Asia somewhere. He's gone back into there. So Harry's a good lad.
Yeah, right.
He's interesting, Harry.
Yeah, okay.
He's different.
Yeah, he's different.
He's very different.
So talk to us about Liverpool at the moment. They've lost 6 on the bounce.
Yeah.
And
no, they've lost 6 out of 7.
6 out of 7. They lost last 5 games, have they?
Sorry, they've lost 5 in the Premier League.
Yeah.
And they've lost the cup. So, 6 out of 7. They've won one, haven't they? They'd be Frankfurt, yeah.
What's your take on that?
What's my take? It goes back. I'm trying to think how I could answer that. Right, so it goes back to what we were talking about before, right? The same problems keep occurring. Right? Defensive problems out of possession. We keep creating the same problems. We keep having the same problems. We can't deal with long balls. It's like, figure it out. You've had 6 out of 7 games now to figure this out. Players have to take ownership of that. If the same problems keep persisting, surely the players on the pitch see that problem. It's not something different every week and they're getting done and they go, or it's the same problem. So where does the penny drop with the players where they go, can't keep getting done like this?
It seems like watching your game, like Ange just got punted after 5 games where it was out. Right, 5 games. Yeah. So is this coach?
No, played more than 5. It was 8.
8. It's very volatile club,
8 games. But the Liverpool coach, is he under pressure?
The tide's turning a little bit, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I think everyone needs to hold their nerve. But listen, he's got Villa, he's got Real Madrid, and he's got Man City to come. He loses them 3 games. We're in trouble in the sense of we're going to lose touch with being able to win the league. We could find ourselves in trouble within the Champions League. And then you look at his record, and that's going to be 9 out of 10. 6, 7, 8. Yeah, that's 9 out of 10 games he's lost. Now, you've got a bit more breathing space because he's won the league last season. But the owners who have let him invest 450 million are going, this is not what we invested in. This is not what we bargained for.
It's unbelievable money.
So is that his fault or the club's fault? I mean, who chooses those players? Does he choose those players?
Him and the sporting director, right. And the owners
Who's
just
the new
sanction.
sporting director?
Yeah, well, Michael Edwards has gone back in,
right?
But predominantly, but he's gone in a different position. So Richard Hughes is the sporting director. Yeah, I mean, I did have dinner with Arsene Wenger the other night and just dropped that name in there, which is fascinating. And it was bad. We went out for dinner and stuff, and I asked him what he thought, and he seemed to think, big players, when you bring big personalities and big superstars into a football club, if you bring a lot at the same time, it can really upset the dressing room, and it can really upset the product on the pitch. And if you think of what he's brought in,
fair call too,
he's brought in 4 big players.
Who's that? Wirtz?
So that's Wirtz, Ekatike, Isak, and Kerkez. Yeah, they'd probably be the 4. You throw all them in your team at once, and it's going to upset the balance somewhere. Plus, you've got Salah, who probably feels his nose a bit pushed out of place because he was the superstar, wasn't he? So he's now battling for, to be top dog. His performances have dropped off. You've got 2 fullbacks, who was Liverpool's most productive area. They're not upgrades on what Liverpool had. So they're struggling in them areas. He's tweaked it a little bit tactically. Players are not adapted to that quick enough. And, you're there to be shot at. Liverpool are there to be shot at because they're the Premier League title, the champions. So it's very, very difficult. And there's a lot of scrutiny on Liverpool as well.
So in your role, in your new role, it's what you're trying to be a sporting director, is that correct? You take lessons from that, right? In terms of don't bring in too many players of high caliber. You talk about leadership a little bit before with, within your club, and you've got Virgil van Dijk at the back, and he's the leader, but he seems to be struggling a little bit. I mean, do you, in your new kind of career that you're looking to do, you
can't stand still in any game. I don't think you have to evolve, and you have to keep on the move. And on the move is recruitment's a big part of any sport, isn't it? But there's a manner in which you recruit and how you get them players in. Listen, Wirtz was brought in for a reason because, the manager felt Liverpool weren't as productive second part of the season from not from set pieces, from just, play on the pitch, just outfield play. He felt Liverpool weren't producing enough, being productive. So they brought Wirtz in for that, and I can understand that. But then, did you need Ekatike? Did you need Isak? You paid top dollar for both of them. They're both going to want to play. You've now got to shoehorn into the team. You're going to upset 2 players. If you want to put them 2 in, you're going to upset 2 players because you're not playing them. Your fullback, for instance, like your fullback at the minute, Kerkez, is not playing well. You've got Andy Robertson, who's been at the club. He knows the club inside out. He's won everything.
Heart and soul.
Just put him back in.
Yeah.
You pull Kerkez out the team. You take him out the line. He's got a lot of scrutiny, a lot of pressures on him. Just take him out. He's there long term. Kerkez. He's got to understand that it's not gone well. You just put Robertson back in, but he won't do it. The manager seems to be quite stubborn at the time, and he's falling.
He's got all the egos to deal with that. That's the issue.
Yeah. A lot of egos. Yeah.
And you talk about bringing the four big names in. Yeah, as a species, we're kind of herd animals. Yeah. You know what I mean? And there's always a pecking order. So dressing rooms have a pecking order.
Yeah. And
so you got 4 guys. The reason the team, just sort of spitballing here, but the reason the team could be out of sorts like it is because you've got these 4 superstars who don't know each other, haven't played together, and they're all in the dressing room now. And they're figuring each other out. Yeah. Where do I sit? That
was Arsenal. That's Arsenal's point. Yeah.
Yeah, and that whole ego thing is, and they're not comfortable with each other, so therefore they're not comfortable on the pitch with each other because they're still figuring out each other.
And when results aren't right, they're looking at each other, going,
where are you, and why weren't you doing this? And some guy wants to take control, sort of puts his foot down and establishes his sort of territory. Well, that might put the other guy's nose out of joint. Yeah. Hang on, that's not your place to say that. You don't talk to me like that. Or that's to Arsen's point. Yeah, like it's 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 fascinating that's gambled.
The dynamic of that.
And it's not working.
Does that happen in your game? Do you bring would that happen where you bring 4 superstars into your team?
Our look, it's getting more and more that way, but our contracts aren't as
we have a salary cap.
Yeah, but they're also not. Yeah, they're not. Yeah, you very, very rarely in our game can you be playing somewhere and then a week later you're playing somewhere else, and you can't sit there and go, you know what? Back in the old days before salary caps, they used to do it where they go out and between seasons they go and they pinch 3 or 4 players from another club and they'd supercharge their team.
Right.
But you can't really do that now. You generally get in 1, sometimes 2 big name players from other clubs, but you can't really do it the way that happens in the Premier League over here.
It doesn't work because of the salary cap.
No.
You can't cherry pick like you can in the Premier League.
Well, I reckon the main thing that happened this year, the coach changed to Brisbane Broncos, who ended up winning the competition, but then at the start of the year they're saying, he's trained them too hard, they're spewing here and there. But he set a standard, and at the back end of the year, that hard work won them the grand final.
That got them through.
Yeah.
But that's just about getting the dynamic right. Yeah,
But it took him a while, didn't it, Kenny?
Yeah, it does. It does. Well, yeah, it did. It took him a while, but he got there. But that's slightly different from the problem at Liverpool with there's just too many
new faces,
big egos in the dressing room. That it sounds like they haven't sorted each other out yet.
Yeah,
and until they do, you're not going to get that cohesion between them that you need to be successful.
You know, when you spoke about leadership before, I mean, it's a massive part of any sport, isn't it? Like an ownership and stuff. And we had Jordan Henderson, and obviously we were blessed actually because we had James Milner as well. So them two in Liverpool's dressing room through the Klopp era, you know, they weren't the superstars of the team, and they certainly weren't the most elaborate or maverick, or they were just the grafters. They do all the hard yards, they put it in. But do you know what? As leaders, they would like batter you on the pitch. I mean, Jordan would be pointing fingers. You know, the stories of Jordan having young players up by the throat.
Really?
Oh yeah, things like that, right? And just putting them, as you said, putting them in the place. You know, listen, you want to play in this team, you don't give the ball away. Like, and I've heard Jordan on the pitch screaming and you know, and I just think, you know, you can make this beautiful cake, can't you? But you still need the flour. You know, otherwise it's going to taste horrible, innit? You know, Jordan was like the flour. You need it. You need it. It's part of the ingredients. And unless you have it, you ain't going to make this cake.
And you need more flour and sugar.
You know, the sugar's your Mo Salahs and your Isaacs and the icing on the top and all that. They're your flair and all that. But without the flour, I don't think Liverpool have enough flour. I don't think there's enough leaders in the team. I honestly don't. I think Virgil, he leads in a different way, you know, and it's not, you know, they've not got anyone who's pointing fingers at the minute. And I think that's a problem in the dressing room.
Yeah, that's great.
Amazing.
Very good. Mate, thank you.
Oh, mate, I really enjoyed it. And thanks. I had to wear a Frankenstein mask. Go on trick or treating.
Mate, that was awesome.
I'd much rather be here. My introduction to rugby league actually was, so we took on a fitness coach called Andy Clark, whose brother was Phil Clark.
Yeah.
And he came over, didn't he?
He played for Wigan. Phil Clark, very good player.
But the Wigan lads used to come drinking with us. So I'd go out with Gary Connolly now and again, and got them as well.
He's a very good player, Gary Connolly. Very good.
Would you watch the game tomorrow? Not really.
I will do. I'll have it on because we don't play till 8 o'clock, so I'm not out the house at 6. I tell you, do you know what? I don't get starstruck. I mean, now and again I do, and every now and again I'll ask for it. Like, I very rarely ask anyone for photos unless it was like Sylvester Stallone. But I did see. And I know it's not your game, it's the other game. I went to Ireland and we were playing, and he'd been invited to the game. Dan Carter. He's not big, is he?
No, not at all.
And I went over to him and I went, "You're a bit of a superstar. I can have a picture." And he went, "Yeah, all right, yeah." I got a picture with Dan Carter. What a player he was.
He was phenomenal. You know, it's interesting. You talk about walking down the street and stuff. I was walking down the street this afternoon, and 2 of the Kangaroo Australian players were walking there. Mark Nanganwik to Nasa. I can't even say that. Nanganwanita Nawasa. Marky Mark. Nawanga Nawasa. I haven't said it in 4 weeks, so I can't remember it.
Yes,
and Angus Crichton. And they were just walking, you know,
No one knew who
down
they
the
were.
street. No one knew who
They
they
wouldn't.
were.
In Australia, would they be?
Oh, big. Yeah, big.
Oh, they'd be,
but not,
people
not,
know.
not
Mate,
like
they-
here.
they
People
wouldn't
leave you
get
alone.
pumped,
People
no.
leave you alone.
Like you, yeah.
But everyone would have been looking, saying, knowing who they were.
They. Oh, that's
Mate,
brilliant.
Thank you.
Oh,
That
thanks
was
very much.
fantastic,
Yeah,
mate. That
thanks
was
for
very
having
good.
That was
Yeah,
beautiful.
that was really good. Thank you.
Very cool.
Very good.
Thanks.
I want to ask you a question.
Yeah.
Is that pound game true?
Yeah, that came from the them boys, Gary Connolly and all that. So it was a pig. So every player had this pig. It was about that big. It was a gold pig. It was tiny. And what they used to do is they had to have the pig on them at all times. So they go. So say I went in the dressing room and there was a night out tonight. Say we were all going out for a couple of pints and all that. One of the lads might go, "You got your pig?" And you'd have to answer back, "Are you asking?" And if I went, "Yeah," and you showed me, you just went like that and got your pig out, the bill was on me. But if you didn't have your pig,
He had to pay.
you had to buy it, yeah.
Right.
So it was a bit of a gamble, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But what happened was it ended up on the pitch. So, but because we didn't have pigs, the lads did it with pound coins.
No.
So the little pound coin. So
Running with it.
Yeah. So the lads went out with the pound coins. Some would like sellotape it into the
No,
undies
that's
and all that
right,
kind of stuff. So some would fall out and all that kind of stuff. So during the game, the lads would go, "You got your pound?"
What, when the game's going?
Yeah. And then another one was, they called it pass the pound. So, because that one never really worked. But so they come up with this new idea and it was called pass the pound. So the game started, and if I went like that to you, you had to take the pound. you couldn't refuse it.
Oh,
okay.
what the game's going?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you run past him at a corner, you'd have to give him the pound. So if you went like that, you'd have to take it, right? So then it'd move on. Whoever was left with the pound on the final whistle paid for the meal that night.
Is that right?
That's
Yeah.
unbelievable.
Yeah, and the story, it got out. But it was only like a cup game. It was against a lower league team where they expected to win. But of course, it was, again, that culture, it got out. And it was like, them fuckers. Because we weren't winning.
We might do that for dinner tonight.
So it's,
Pound, yeah.
so who was left with a pound had to pay for everyone's meal.
Yeah, that night.
Bloody
So
hell.
everyone who went out, or the whole bill.
Oh, that's awesome.
Wow.
And the other one was the credit cards. Like, you must have done that one. So if you'd all go out, everyone puts the credit card in and then into a bowl or whatever. And then the waitress just comes.
Oh, wow.
And if it's yours, and then we used to do that.
Credit
one as
card
well.
roulette.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So we
Oh,
do
that's
all
good.
that.